Obviously, the very first thing I was going to test with CE server access was whether or not Yuzuha was better than Astra. For the sake of clarification, because I know one of y'all are about to comment it, for Anomaly teams. Obviously, we're talking about Anomaly, right? Why would I talk about Yuzuha in a not Anomaly? Come on, guys. For a quick backstory, I had some theories, spoke with some homies, and looked into a number of different reasons as to why the discussion of Astra being better than Yuzuha was even a thing to begin with. On paper, Astra is the superior choice for the typical I'm the strongest support in the game reasons, but as I explained in my previous videos, universal buffs are not always the best thing for you. I mean, it's not like game devs would make a character significantly worse than the character they're trying to sell, right? In this video, I took it upon myself to really take these two supports to the ringer: Deadly Assault, Chi-Yu Defense, multiple Team Shells, and a variety of builds. The results between Yuzuha and Astra are astronomical, to say the least. You see what I did there with the Astra and then Astra? Okay. Even I was surprised how close to my own theories these results were, but that's for later in the video. For now, let's break down the tests and builds. Both of these tests consisted of a shell focusing on Miyabi and Vivian. I chose this due to the fact that most of us in the community are on the same page about Yuzuha being the best support for Anomaly teams, but Astra in particular was the one in question. If both of them give 1200 attack to the entire team, but one of them is geared towards Anomaly specifically, then why would Astra be better for Miyabi exclusive teams? Well, the answer was actually two parts. One, despite Miyabi being an Anomaly DPS, most of her damage is crit based. And then two, Astra was more equipped to handle the standard B&B combos we already used for Vivian thanks to her infinite quick assist. Now this made sense on paper, and even I wasn't going to argue that, but I also keep telling you guys that Zenless is not a static rotation game. You can't do the same rotation over and over and over and over unless you're just the perfect player. The game fights back. There are situations that constantly change in the middle of a fight, and my run is almost guaranteed to be completely different than your run. Because of this, I thought to myself, if Vivian would seemingly struggle with getting her B&B quick assist combo, then what's stopping me from adapting to fix the problem? So I kinda did exactly that, and what's funny is Vivian suffers the same issue regardless of using Astra or Yuzuha. With Astra, we still have our standard quick assist into feather cancel combos to max out the stacks, but you, as the player, still have to pilot Vivian on field more often in order to keep up her energy. Otherwise, when you do swap in from the quick assist, she just doesn't have the energy for the combo. This forced me to change the way I played her against specific enemies. Miasma Jane's fight allows me to parry more often, but it doesn't allow me to sit on Vivian long enough to guarantee energy regen combos because of how aggressive Jane is. Contrary to that, Dead and Butcher is a fight that I want to abuse the quick assist and switch techs as much as possible. The parry opportunities aren't there more than a few times, forcing you to on-field Vivian much more to keep her energy up. With Yuzuha, the energy problem still exists, but that problem is significantly diluted to the point of being almost non-existent because Yuzuha sits in the middle of these Anomaly teams perfectly. Then the aggressive nature that I mentioned about Jane, yeah, Yuzuha's Tanuki cloak, aka the parry, completely shuts her down. I mean, this matchup is a 10-0 in Yuzuha's favor. Tanuki cloak auto shuts down everything Jane does. The bum rush attack, the miasma version of the bum rush attack, the aerial uppercut, the aerial dive kick, whatever Jane wants to do, you Tanuki cloak and it gets canceled immediately. And I'm not just talking about like the startup or the end frames, I mean the entire move. Whatever she was doing just stops. If you parry the very beginning of it, Jane stops doing whatever she was doing and then she has to readjust. This opens up the window for opportunities you don't get with Astra, like the DP assist tech from Azrael that we had since like beta 2, or similar strategies that I've shown off with Seth. Those strategies are ways to turn his defensive abilities into offensive situations for your DPS that allow you to match Jane's hyper-aggressive energy so you never have to stop pressing the W key. The best part is that it doesn't stop at Jane, it extends to every boss in the game. But then the fight with Dead and Butcher is no longer about abusing the infinite quick assist because you physically can't do it. Now it's about abusing your iframes between Miyabi and Vivian's feather stance, while taking advantage of Yuzuha's ability to interrupt Butcher, amp up your anomaly damage, and give Miyabi 3 enhanced basic attack combos back to back to back. You keep the power from Astra, but you gain a much more concrete team that abuses every DPS type in the game. The advantages to using one over the other isn't so drastic that X is a clear-cut winner of Y. The Miyabi and Vivian team shell with Astra cleared around 125 seconds, or about 1 minute and 25 seconds for me personally, without optimizing more than my knowledge of the actual fight. That same team shell with Yuzuha gave me the results of like roughly 5 to 10 seconds longer, but it felt so much more comfortable to play. Everything Jane did, I quite literally parried with Yuzuha, and all of Jane's deadly combos magically go away. Not only does each team favor particular matchups against certain enemies, but the builds almost completely change, or at least they have the ability to. Let me elaborate. The first builds I tested were what most of us can consider the standard builds. I didn't want to get too crazy with the stats, but I wanted them to be somewhat representative of what the endgame expects. Miyabi has a 4-piece branching blade with a 2-piece woodpecker, crit damage on the 4, attack percent 5, and then attack percent 6, as well as her signature engine. Also, everyone has their signature engine, by the way. I didn't do any of the free-to-play testing until later, but Yuzuha, 4-piece protopunk with a 2-piece faith ends, attack dis 4, attack dis 5, and AM 6. Then Vivian, 4-piece faith end with 2-piece freedom, AP 4, ether damage 5, and AM 6. Astra with a 4-piece astral and a 2-piece swing jazz, attack 4, attack 5, 6 didn't matter. With these standard builds, both teams were dangerously close to one another. That's when I made that tweet asking for others to look into the math and help with my thesis. The next morning, I came back to cook in the lab. After thinking about just how many absurd stat boosts these two supports were giving, I made some alterations and I got some insane results. I got rid of the standard Miyabi build and I changed the 5th disc to Pin, and then I changed the 6th disc to AM, specifically with Astra, but I kept the attack disc with Yuzuha. The reason for that is because Yuzuha's passive gave Miyabi the extra anomaly mastery she needed to give me back my guaranteed freeze combos, allowing me to keep the attack disc 6. Some of you that are new to the channel might be asking why I would run AM with Astra instead of just pumping up all the attack. It's because without AM 6 on Miyabi, instead of doing one EX skill combo to instantly freeze the enemy, I now need to use 2 or 3 depending on the boss. AM 6 also allows my Miyabi to keep up with the disorders my Vivian wants to trigger. A lot of players don't actually care about this because it's not really a thought to them, but seeing how the strongest team in the game is literally mono ice, it should be noted just how busted freezing in this game actually is. However, I did test swapping out the Pin 5 for an attack 5, and Pin still provided me with better results. By changing this Miyabi setup, I learned 2 things. 1, clearing off the Frostburn status to ensure you're always building the maximum amount of stacks as fast as possible does become better or worse depending on if it's AM or attack 6. I personally prefer AM, but you might prefer attack. That's cool too. The second thing was that Yuzuha's supportive kit is insane. Not only does she allow Miyabi to comfortably run attack 6 while still ensuring my guaranteed freeze combos, but she also lets me play around with the entire build as a whole. Stuff like Pin 5 with Fusion Compiler is now a destructive option for free-to-play Miyabis when paired with Yuzuha specifically. But that's not even the end of it. Now we can actually talk about Yuzuha, who has some of the most flexible build options I've ever seen for support. Most of the theory crafters have gravitated towards 4-piece Swing Jazz or Astro Voice as the best set for Yuzuha, but each of these come with their own pros and cons. 4-piece Swing is easy to pilot, but it only has about a 50% uptime. 4-piece Astral's problem is almost a 1-to-1 with Panda. There's almost never a point you'll have all 3 buffs up without running 2 agents that can quick assist in the same team. On average, it's about 2, which is still good damage percent. But if you remember what I said earlier during the build explanation, I ran 4-piece Protopunk for most of this test. Why? Because it boasts a 100% uptime when played correctly, which is not hard at all. We can even take that further beyond though. From my recent fixation of studying the Eastern player base of Zenless, they've gravitated towards a 2-2-2 style of gameplay for not just Yuzuha, but a good handful of their agents now. Out of the 20 disk drive sets we have in the game, Yuzuha can run at least half of them in a 2-2-2 combination build. This gets even better after I tell you that the 222 build is exceptionally viable for free-to-play Yuzuha because they give you the option to make up for everything you're missing without her signature W engine. You gain all of these stats without losing out on a single thing, and you don't have to stress about the uptime of any 4-piece set. It doesn't matter if you don't parry, if you don't chain attack, you forgot to ult, you didn't quick assist, whatever. 222 plus the free-to-play engines like Kaboom give you all the benefits with zero cons. But with all of that, how does this answer the question of which one is better for Miyabi comps? Well, the answer was actually two parts. One, despite Miyabi being an Anomaly DPS, most of her damage is crit based. And then two, Astra was more equipped to handle the standard B&B combos we already used for Vivian thanks to her infinite quick assist. Now this made sense on paper, and even I wasn't going to argue that, but after some strenuous testing between the two supports, I'm even more confident that Yuzuha is a supreme support for every Anomaly agent in the game. However, this test only further proves my concept I've been speaking about for a few months now. Zenless is way more matchup based than the average player seems to realize, and I believe that we're quickly moving away from the idea of these static team comps. Most of us are familiar with this type of setup from other gacha games, but we've steadily seen players revealing unexplored or unorthodox team shells in this game and absolutely dominating bosses. Against certain bosses like Shadow Jane and the 4-armed construction robot, I might prefer Astra because she allows me to pummel the enemy with an onslaught of high damage. On the other hand, against a boss like Thrashian and the Electro Fist guys, I'll take the team with Yuzuha on it that provides me with a stronger balance of defense and offense. These teams were dangerously close together in almost every result, where Yuzuha might have gotten 41k in Deadly Assault, Astra might have gotten 38k, but in a different DA run, Astra might have gotten me the kill, leaving Yuzuha just 1,000 or 2 short. Something like that could purely be a skill diff, but neither is outright the clear winner over the other. Those are just the scores though. If we're talking about what Yuzuha allows Miyabi to do with any of her teammates compared to Astra, then I'm absolutely leaning towards Yuzuha. Have y'all seen the 5 EBA combos going around this weekend? Like, come on, bro. At the end of the day, Yuzuha is a huge improvement to any player investing into Anomaly teams, but if you already have Astra with your preferred Miyabi team, I don't know, I personally wouldn't stress about not getting Yuzuha on her debut. Yeah, you might not get the crazy EBA combos or stupid disorder explosions, but that's not gonna magically stop you from deleting anything in the game. You're good, trust me. With that, I'm gonna get out of here. The next vid I'm working on will feature a breakdown of Jane with Yuzuha, so stay tuned for that. I low-key don't want to bother testing her with Astra teams though, but I don't know, this was a lot to document. Anyway, if you want to see more videos for Season 2 of Zenless Zone Zero, click one of these videos popping up right now. Other than that, join my Discord. I can't say my user outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Smell you later.